one person that I want to mention is Alvin Plantinga, the pride and
Yes.
joy of Calvin
Yeah.
College. And so he had the evolutionary argument against naturalism that I think is very important. And Alvin Plantinga was sort of, he was kind of there towards the, he was in that more, what do you call courtroom style
Analytic
dialogue,
philosophy.
between Christianity and atheism at the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like when he's talking with Daniel Dennett, right, that's sort of, they didn't do a very good job talking to each other, but that was sort of like Sam Harris and William Lane Craig were sort of popular apologetics, and kind of at the super academic philosophical level was Plantinga and Daniel Dennett.
Yeah.
And I think that not to try and bring things back into the courtroom style, but I do think that Plantinga made an extremely important point in the evolutionary argument against naturalism that is kind of part of how I think that we were talking about the separation between the procedural and the propositional, right? Like religion could be propositionally true, but or it could be procedurally correct or functional at least, but propositionally incorrect, in that it defends its procedures with the propositions. The propositions are just floating out in falsehood, mythological, untethered to reality land, but they generate procedures that are functional. And what Plantinga said to that was, well, wait a minute, you naturalists, you guys think that your minds are the product of evolution. And if you think that all that evolution is acting on is procedure, and that there is a disconnect between propositions and procedure, then evolution would not generate true propositions or even the ability to generate true propositions. It only cares about procedure. And so therefore, there is no reason for anyone to think that any of their propositions are connected to, propositional based reality or something like that. And so if you're going to make this split, then it's going to undercut the variability. You kind of alluded to this earlier, John, that it is that would be a skepticism that would shoot itself in its own foot. Because if there is no connection between propositional correctness and procedural correctness, then our brains have just evolved to deceive ourselves in a way that causes us to act properly. And so nothing that we could ever say or think could be very trustworthy. And so that there needs to be some connection there. But Alvin Plantinga, in his own sort of Dutch Calvinist kind of way, didn't give a very Neo-Platonic answer, I would say, to that. He sort of gave the kind of the presuppositionalist sort of answer kind of thing, and basic factor, properly, things being properly basic, right? That was sort of his things and stuff like that. But I think that this is one of those things where Neoplatonism can help, I think, give a more thorough answer to why there is a connection between propositional correctness and procedural correctness. And it's sort of like what I was talking about with, polar bears and Mount Everest and forms and stuff like that. And that it has to be that there is a truth between what gets embodied, and the success of an embodied thing is a revelation about truth itself.
Yes,
right?
Well said.